Hello all, this is Dr. Dave Maslak talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3, and in this particular video I want to talk to you about PhD motivation tips and how to stay motivated during graduate school. So if you don't know me, I'm Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There were so many people that helped me out that I wanted to pay the favor forward and help you out, so I created this sharing economy editing platform. That's what the reciprocity.com is. And then I created all these YouTube videos, and now we're working on a big blog for this. All right, so in terms of PhD motivation tips, I think I'm not the only one that struggles with this. I think it's really difficult to do research on a daily basis. I think when we start out, we have this sort of view that it's going to be really easy to just do the things that you want to do. You're really excited. But at about 3 months in, it gets really tough into any particular PhD program. And then going forward, that's why you see a lot of professors actually stop and not do research in the long run. Once particularly, there's different milestones, right? So people are going to stop at their comprehensive exams, then they're going to stop at when they finish their PhD, then they're going to stop midway through getting tenure, and then they're going to stop once they get tenure, and then they get stopped once they become a full professor. There's all these milestones where people stop doing research because it is hard and it's very difficult to keep being motivated at all time and keep pushing forward. We all struggle with motivation, with figuring out what to do and how to keep just moving forward and striving, right? Keeping energized and jazzed about doing the thing that you're doing. All projects take a tremendous amount of time. In all academic disciplines, they're not like a 4-month endeavor. You have to think in terms of years. In my field, it's probably more like 5 years to decades of working on specific projects. Right? It just takes a long time, and it is really slow, and you just kind of lose motivation at that point, right? So we know this from learning research. That's kind of my focus is organizational learning, but we know this, that whenever that you perform an action and then we wait for a long time, that there's a delay and there's no outcome from that, you just feel really demotivated and you don't know what to do, and it just reduces a tremendous amount of will to keep going, because there's really no learning effect that's happening there, and there's no sort of feedback that you get immediately, and that feedback is really, really important to make you really energized and focused and keep going with the things that you're doing, right? So, what I'm going to point out with this, first of all, it's not about thinking that you're superhuman in any sort of way, right? We all have these difficulties, and we all struggle with these. As I mentioned, almost all professors will tell you that. If they're being really honest, they all tell you that it's really a big struggle, and it's a big push, and we're constantly doing that. Anybody that tells you otherwise is secretly probably not telling quite the truth, or they're giving you a very rosy colored view of it, right? So there's always a push. We're always struggling, and we get energized from that struggle. And so we have to figure out, what are some tips to actually stay motivated during your doctoral studies or even further, right? How do you actually keep going and keep pushing forward? There's lots of different things. These are just real practical things that I've learned that will help you out in different things, from other people that have told me. I think that this is really helpful for you. So the first thing is to make sure that you have enough sleep, that you have enough food, and you have downtime throughout the process, right? That having that sleep, food, and downtime is really going to help you going forward. You can't, whenever I feel really dumpy and I feel really down, it is typically almost always that I haven't slept. The food thing is a little weird, and you should probably talk to your physician before you do any of this kind of stuff, but I've been really messing around lately with intermittent fasting. So, I don't eat until noon or 2, depending on the day. It's a little harder now that COVID is on and we've been at home, but when I go into work, I might not eat until 2, and the weird thing is I have a tremendous amount of focus until about 2 o'clock, and the whole rationale behind it is that when you're starving, you're going to be really, really focused on trying to find food, right? So evolutionary is kind of programmed in there. So for me, it's helped out a tremendous amount, but I still eat like a beast after that. And I mean, I'll make sure that I eat well over, 2,000, probably 3,000 calories at least throughout the day after that moment, right? So I'm always eating, making sure that I'm full and satiated. That really helps out. And then the other thing is making sure you have downtime. And the downtime is not necessarily like, sitting there and watching TV, although that's probably important to do too. But that downtime really helps when you have to do chores, when you have to cook, for example, cooking, bathing, just really simple things like that. That's your downtime, and that downtime is important for you in terms of personal hygiene and personal care. And if any of those things are cut low and sort of they're reduced, it makes a huge difference in how I feel in what actually I do at that point, particularly sleep. If I don't get that much sleep, we have 2 kids, and we went through the whole, at the beginning, you don't sleep that much. And then, I felt really dumpy. I did my work, but I felt really dumpy for those several years when you're doing that, right? So really think about how to get that sleep. That's going to be really important. The second thing that I think is incredibly important, and this is, the motivational speaker, Simon Sinek, he points out that you really need to know your why you're doing something, why something actually needs to be done, and then really lean into that. And I'm starting to buy into it. I think that's really important. It's not about knowing what to do, but knowing why you're actually doing it. That's why I'm actually staying so long with these YouTube videos. Is because I know what my why is. I know that, I was stuck during graduate school, or I felt that way, and it felt like I was alone. It felt like I didn't have anybody to talk to. It felt like there was nobody there that I can turn to. And knowing that there's somebody like me that's actually telling the story and helping you out wherever you are in the world. Maybe you are in Argentina, maybe you are in, Ghana right now, maybe you are in Brazil, maybe you are in, in Hungary right now, just all over the world. If you're watching this, then you know that there's somebody else who's dealing with this. It's kind of a universal thing. And hopefully this is going to help you out, knowing that there's somebody else is dealing with it, right? So that is my why, is that, it's a struggle for me. It's still a struggle for me. But I want to make sure that you are doing well and you feel that you're not unusual or you're kind of goofy in any sort of way, but know that this is totally normal, and that we can help each other out. I think the more that we lean into helping each other out, the more fun this is going to be, the more exciting it's going to be. And just, in general, I think it's going to benefit science a tremendous amount more by doing these kind of things. So the other thing that I think is really, really important is making sure that you always have joy in your life. And when you lose that is when things don't feel all that fun. So figuring out what that joy is in your life and doing those particular things is becoming really exciting for me to invest in you. And so it's becoming more and more joyful. It's becoming a lot more fun to do these kind of things. And I hope you find something like that where you get really excited about it. Maybe it's working out, for example, or being part of a running club. Maybe it is, doing things where you're in a cooking club. Maybe it is, I don't know, anything that gives you joy, right? Maybe going for walks with friends and doing things like that. That is really going to help you out with your motivation in general, just in life. Your spiritual journey kind of thing, right? Like that is really important for all of us to have these things. And as soon as you remove those things, that's when things get a little dicey. So you want to make sure that you're always having some joy in your life to get through those moments and push through where it becomes a little bit more challenging. And the fourth thing that I think is really I guess that's 8. But 4, you just have to take 20 minutes of your time to do writing. Once you realize it only really takes 20 minutes or 5 minutes even of sitting down, once you start sitting down, you get into the mode of actually writing and doing things, and pretty soon it's a couple hours that you've done that. So just have in your mind that, it's only going to be 5 minutes or 10 minutes, of you sitting down. And then the other thing that ends up happening is that within those 5 or 10 minutes, even if you have to go and do something, you've actually written a couple of lines, and you write those couple of lines, and you write a couple more lines, and you write a couple more lines, and pretty soon you actually have something. And that's how it takes. That's, I think most people actually do that, and that's why you see really incredibly busy professors around the world that are super famous. That's how they actually get a lot of work done. Some will take chunks and block time out, but a lot of people just kind of do things a little bit at a time and build things out, right? So a lot of these scripts, for example, these YouTube scripts, these videos, I could reuse them and redo them for other things. And that's hopefully what you're going to do with building out your writing, is that you just write things down, you write your thoughts, you write your ideas, and you continuously do that. It's going to help you out going forward. And the last thing, I think this is important, but it's really difficult to do, and it's challenging for a lot of people, including myself. I really struggle with this, is finding people that you want to hang out with and share ideas with those people, and just being a normal human being that, maybe they're academic-y, maybe they're not, but just finding people that you can share ideas with and talk to, and, just have a real fun team around you of people that are helping you out and pushing you going forward. That's going to really help you out and make you stay motivated. And finding those groups and having an encouraging group, that's going to be incredibly powerful for you to stay motivated going forward. That people are just, encouraging you and pushing you and understanding where you are sometimes. So that's the tricky thing, I think, in academia, is that we all have different, sub-disciplines and fields and things like that. And so, the people that you're supposed to be closest to, you kind of feel like you're competing with. And then, the people that you are distant from, sort of academically or knowledge-based wise, they just have different norms. And so it's challenging at that moment. So you have this sort of weird dynamic that you have going on. There's a topic that's in our field in sociology. It's called optimal distinctiveness, where you have to be different, but not too different that you are really different from everything else. Nobody really understands what you're about. And that's really what's going on, is that you have to find that sort of sweet spot. And so there's just not a lot of people out there that are in that sweet spot, that you can push each other forward and not be direct competitors within the knowledge field. So I think, just in general, in order to stay motivated, you really just have to take care of yourself and really invest in this person, right? So know that nobody else is going to look after this person. Your advisors, your dean, your other professors around you, they're not going to care about you as much as you care about you. And so you have to take that time and effort to really care about yourself, no matter what everybody else is telling you. Really invest in this person, and do things like read self-help books, discover who you are. That's a cool part of what you're doing right now, is that the world is your oyster, and you can really invest in the time to do a lot of personal development. And I think for me, my PhD was more, and in this whole journey right now, is more about me discovering who I'm about than it is about understanding what is absorptive capacity with knowledge intensive firms. That is I know that stuff, but it's not about that. It's about what's going on inside here. That really, so this part, right? So your heart, that really is going to resonate and keep you going forward. And that's really incredibly important for you. So really invest in that. You're going to do a lot and really discover what you're all about. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care and have a wonderful day. All right, bye.